Hi, podcast. Go on, Michael.
Hi, podcast. My name is Michael Nolan, and I am the guest on Tara's podcast today. What's the name of it again? It's a great name.
Well, it has a name. I just get scared. I don't like sharing.
Okay, we don't have to share.
So funny.
Okay,
hey guys, full disclosure. We recorded this episode already and it got deleted.
Yeah. So I'm going to try my best to remember what I talked about last week because we were on a really good roll.
My microphone keeps moving.
Tell it to stop.
Sorry, that's like not relevant, but in case there's sounds, guys.
Yeah.
From my microphone keeps moving. I wish I had my water bottle.
Water would be good for a podcast because you can drink it.
Yeah. Truth nuke.
Truth supernova.
Oh my god, that was really good. Okay, Michael, fill us in. What movie are we talking about today?
Today's film that we are talking about is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Why is he doing that? Why is he versing it?
I don't know. Well, there's like a whole thing. He's got like this crush on this girl, and it's like he has issues, and it's like the world's low key justified against him, but we can get into that and more.
And more.
And more in today's podcast.
Yep. Amen.
Amen.
Where do we go from here?
Well, it's a feminist reading, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about
this is a podcast about girls.
Of course. So we're going to talk about the women in this show, or movie, not show. There is a show.
There is a show.
But we're not talking about that today.
It's real.
We can like reference it a little bit, but we can't talk about it because we're talking about the movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of female characters in this movie. Each of them kind of have their own... Oh, yeah, let's count them. There's Ramona.
Yeah, I counted her. I'll do it out loud. Good point. Forgot.
We just go dead silent for like 3 minutes.
To count. That's so funny. Okay, well, there's Ramona, and there's Knives, and there's Kim, and there's Aubrey Plaza.
I feel like
what's her name? Julie.
Last time we had to look it up because we also forgot.
She's just so Aubrey Plaza. It's like
she is. This is Aubrey
and
Plaza.
Then there's Envy and Roxy. And Knives' little friend.
Knives' friend, who's like, I don't remember.
She's and then there's like but she's Scott's in that sister. One scene where she's like dyeing her hair, and she's like, why does he like her just because she's older? Like,
oh, that's right. I remember her. Yeah. And I think that's all of them.
I think that's all of them too.
In the movie, at least. So we can pick which one to talk about first. I don't remember who we talked about first last time. I don't know how we
Julie.
did it. Julie?
I think we talked about Julie first because she's like the easiest.
Yeah.
Comparatively. Because
she's kind of just like... I wouldn't say she's unimportant, but she's definitely more of a side character than a lot of the other female characters in this film.
Yeah. She's definitely still... she's a more relevant side character than a lot of the male side characters in the film.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the male characters in this film are like Ramona's evil exes.
And they're just more antagonists.
Who show up like briefly for like 15 minutes each and then they're gone. But the female side characters are generally around for more frequently throughout the film.
Mm-hmm. And their role in the story is interesting because they kind of act as like the few characters in this movie that go to Scott and be like, Scott, what you're doing is stupid and wrong and messed up.
They're like the only people who will call him out for his actions.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the male characters, of which there are few.
There's really not that many. I mean, aside from the evil exes.
I'm not really counting the evil exes because they're like not real. You know what I mean? Like they're barely like, characters.
They're just like obstacles. They're less like
well, we counted Roxy.
Yeah, because she's got her own thing going
Roxy.
On. I love Roxy, but we can talk about her.
But like for the boys, there's only like Wallace.
And he's Wallace.
Young Neil.
Even young Neil in the movie is like...
Young Neil's low-key relevant, though.
And then Steven only cares about the band. He's like, guys, this band.
Steven Stills?
Stills or Styles? I don't remember.
I don't know which.
His name's Steven.
Steven with a PH.
Yeah.
And he's like low-key irrelevant. Like
he is irrelevant.
He's like, he like owns the house, I think.
Yeah, he's like the vocals of the band, I think. And he's just like...
He plays guitar.
Yeah, he plays the guitar. And he's just like, he just seems to be constantly anxious. So, like, none of the male characters are nearly as relevant as the female ones.
Which is interesting when you consider like how the movie is perceived by its mostly male audience, and how they've like latched on to these male characters as like emblems of masculinity,
when really none of them possess any definable traits whatsoever.
I mean, I wouldn't say that they don't have definable traits. Like, I think there are definable traits for the male characters in the film, just not as prevalent or in your face as like the female characters are, and not as narratively significant. Like, when you consider like the actual story of the movie, like it becomes really obvious that the male characters kind of just exist as padding for Scott and his endeavors, whereas the female characters work to move the plot forward and like actually impact the movie's stance on the world and like how Scott interacts with the world around him.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I also think that the fact that they're so like background also makes them easier to project upon. It's like they're these guys that don't really do anything, and they're just kind of like these vague ideas of characters, and that makes it easier for people to imprint themselves onto them.
Even Scott, like, he just doesn't have that much Scott going on.
He is kind of just like,
he's such an everyman.
Yeah, he is such an everyman. That's a great way to put it. He's just like this guy who can't really get over like himself. He's like just in love with Ramona, but he's like stuck in the past. He can't really grow up for the life of him, and that makes him a really great foil to Ramona. But we can talk about Ramona towards the end because I think there's a lot going on with her.
Yeah, really, I think that the male characters in this film are not very developed. Although I think they're, like, some of them are definitely kind of on par with the development that some of the female characters get, with the exception of, like, Ramona, who is very developed, and arguably also Knives, who I think is a very well-developed character.
I agree.
Despite seeming almost kind of one note when you originally watched the film, but I think if you actually, like, think about it, you'll see there's a lot more to Knives than what the film tries to get you to think in the beginning. Because I think the film is trying to get you to think, like, oh, she's just this schoolgirl dating this grown man. But when you actually, like, look at her character, like, she has a lot more going on than what it would originally suggest, and also than what a lot of people give her credit for, I think, when they discuss the film.
She has her, like, own arc that you can, like, see fulfilled towards the climax.
Yeah.
When she's, like, fighting off Gideon and his, like, freaking minions or whatever. She has, like, she is very much the victim in the story, but the way she's able to, like, still fight for her own agency is very, like, inspiring, I think, and sets a really good precedent for, like, maybe younger girls who see themselves in Knives and the situation that she's in. But yeah, I just think it's, like, I just think she is a really good character. I mean, obviously she has her issues being, like, a stereotype a little bit.
Well, yeah, I guess that's something that we can talk about now with Knives, and the fact that she, like, is a racist stereotype.
Yeah.
Because she is meant to be this, like, innocent, naive Asian schoolgirl that, like, these types of guys, these, like, incel white guys who spend all their time in the basement are always searching for. And her name is Knives Chow. Like,
like, yeah, it's, like, a little unsubtle about it.
It doesn't get a more on the nose than that.
Yeah.
But I still think that, like, that's something worth mentioning, that she is, like, a racist stereotype, obviously.
Yeah.
But she is still a developed character, which is, like, okay, well, like, at least we're doing one thing good.
Yeah. It's crazy how this film kind of somehow manages to be timeless, even though there are parts of it that are very dated. Like, I think you can, like, watch this film, even though it's such a 2000s film. You can watch it nowadays, and you can see a lot of these, like, characters, and you can see them in modern day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I also think that has to do, though, somewhat with the cultural impact of the film itself, and, like, how people have taken hold of it, and, like, especially in recent years with the rise of inceldom becoming more mainstream, and how Scott Pilgrim has kind of become, like, a poster child for, like, incels, and, like, how in, like, 2022 there was, like, that huge rise in, like, Weezer fans, and they were like, oh, I love Weezer and Radiohead and Scott Pilgrim, like, I'm such an incel, I'm such a loser. And I think that is part of what helps the movie be so timeless, because the movie inspired the culture that exists today. So I think that if the movie hadn't existed, it wouldn't necessarily be as timeless as like we think it is now, because ultimately it is timeless because it is now. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
That does. I know what you're going for.
It inspired the culture that exists that makes it more relevant today.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't happen if it didn't exist before.
Yeah. It's also interesting that it like, when you watch the movie itself, it's very much not trying to be like this glamorization of incel culture.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I don't really know.
I mean, I don't know if that's actually true. I think that it is kind of, I don't know if I would say that it's a glamorization of incel culture, but it's definitely not trying to be a glamorization of incel culture. I think it's what it's doing is more being a representation of like that sort of like gamer loser culture. Not necessarily like incels, but like, you know what I mean? Like it's a movie that is trying to give representation to those, I guess, not really underrepresented, but like in this context, like comic book fans.
Back then, people would think it would be underrepresented.
It was like, it's like a love letter to people who loved the Scott Pilgrim comic, which like were ultimately kind of incels.
Mm-hmm. Did that term exist back then? When was that term
Probably.
coined?
I mean, it was probably coined in like the early 2000s, like on Reddit.
Probably.
Even on 4chan. Probably on 4chan.
Probably on 4chan, yeah. But yeah,
and even if it didn't exist back then, like the concept of an incel still did exist.
Definitely. I mean, yeah. Those type of people have always existed.
Mm-hmm. Not that there's anything wrong with being an incel. As long as you're not like the type that like genuinely hates women. You know what I mean? Like there are some incels who just like incel things. And it's like, that's fine. Yeah.
At that point, it's like, what does incel mean in that regard? Because I've always perceived incel as like, some like hating women is a part of being an incel,
and it kind of is. I guess my incel analysis. Okay, whatever.
But like, I know what you mean. I think
there's a difference between like being an actual honest to God 4chan Reddit incel and being like someone who goes on TikTok and like just likes things that are like incel-esque and calls himself an incel in that regard.
Oh no, definitely.
Also, I think that you can be an incel and not be misogynistic, because like there are people who like are losers and are just like virgins for life. Mm-hmm. Because of the things that they like, and those things tend to be like Scott Pilgrim and Weezer and Radiohead, and that's like fine, and like you can be an incel in that regard. But then there is like this different sector of inceldom where they are just misogynistic pigs, and they like are kind of something else, even though that's technically a term for them. But like now it's kind of adapted, like as language evolves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like there's different sectors of, I guess, the word incel nowadays, especially since it's leaked into the mainstream.
Yeah.
But I see what you mean. Yeah. But, who should we talk about next?
We didn't even talk about Julie.
Right. I like Julie.
I like Julie. I like how she's played by Aubrey Plaza.
I do like how she's played by Aubrey Plaza.
Not that that's really relevant, but like I think this is one of Aubrey Plaza's best films.
I know. I mean,
I think she does really good in it.
What other films is she in? I'm trying to think of other films she's in.
Oh, that's embarrassing. I mean, I like her in Parks and Rec. I feel like she often plays a lot of the same characters, Aubrey Plaza. All of her characters are kind of the same. You ever notice that?
Yeah, it's
not that that's relevant to the podcast. It's just like something.
A little bit of Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza dissection.
Yeah. But yeah, I do like Julie. She's like this. I mean, she's just like the moral. I wouldn't say she's a moral compass, but she's like. I think she
kind of is.
She's kind of.
More than anyone else.
Voice for the audience, almost, I think.
I think she's kind of an audience stand-in.
And that's why people like her a lot, I think.
Yeah. Because she basically throughout the entire film was like, Scott, you're actually stupid.
Yeah, Scott, you're actually a terrible person. You need to break up with the 17-year-old.
And also don't date Ramona.
And also don't date Ramona. She is bad news. And she is bad news. But, yeah, I think that's why. Because I honestly do see a lot of love for Julie as a character. Mm-hmm. Like I
also think that she's generally unproblematic. So there's like nothing you can say against her, sort of.
It's like it's Julie.
And also like if you're going to, okay, well I think that if you're like someone who likes Scott Pilgrim and like is kind of an incel too, like Julie is the easiest female character to look at and go, oh, she's cool, because she doesn't have that many faults. Compared to like a lot of the other female characters, so Julie is inherently going to be more popular, also because she is more masculinized, and also because she's dating Steven consistently throughout. So she's always with a male character that's like adjacent to her, but they're also kind of not dating, so it doesn't get in the way of their gay shipping.
It's like the perfect balance for them.
Yeah. And also it's like she has never done anything wrong, so if you say you don't like Julie, like at that point you are just getting pegged as misogynistic.
Yeah.
Versus like the other characters where there technically is something that you could say, oh, I don't like when they did this. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
I'm very familiar with these fandom spaces and how they move misogynistically without necessarily wanting people to clock them as misogynistic, and Julie is like such a staple character for misogynistic people to like cling on to and be like, oh, I like her. See, I like a girl. I'm not misogynistic.
When it's the one girl that's just like entirely unproblematic.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that you say that because this is a film with a lot of flawed characters, and like it's crazy how I've noticed in fan spaces that male characters who are arguably more flawed tend to get a lot more forgiveness than females with like any flaw whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's something you're very aware of.
Yeah. Yep.
And how do you think that has impacted perception of certain characters in this film?
In this film?
Yeah.
I think that this film in particular is a little bit more complicated than that, than looking at like classic fandom spaces in like a Tumblr sense, because this is such a Reddit movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, exactly.
And like it has recently become more mainstream, but it's become more mainstream with the rise of TikTok. Not that it was never not mainstream, but like, you know what I mean? How it's become more popular within different circles because of the rise of TikTok. And TikTok fandom spaces operate a little bit differently than a classic fandom space.
TikTok is its own beast.
And also, these people are kind of being informed by the Reddit perceptions of the film to begin with. And a lot of those Reddit perceptions were kind of like, I don't really give a crap about all of these girls except for Ramona because she's like my BPD princess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like taking Ramona and making her like a manic pixie dream girl and going, oh, she's never done anything wrong, but like I could make her worse. So it's that kind of thing. Like it's more sexualization and fetishization in the Scott Pilgrim fandom than it is any sort of like berating of the female characters. Does that make sense? Like they're taking Ramona Flowers and going, oh, she's such a bad person, I need her so bad. Like, I want her to date me forever. Mm-hmm. Rather than it would be looking at Ramona Flowers and going, she's evil, she's a witch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a different kind. Well, it's like at the end of the day, it's still misogyny. But
it is still misogyny, but it's like a different type of misogyny. Yeah. It's like, because there's like the type of misogyny where you just hate women, and then there's the type of misogyny where you hate women, but you want to have sex with them all the time.
Right. Yeah. There was a really good, oh my gosh, I just remembered, there was a really good, I guess we should wait till the end to talk about Ramona Flowers.
I mean, we can do whatever. It's a podcast. You can talk about it throughout.
Okay, we can talk about it now. But you said last week you were talking about, like, the origins of the Manic Pixie Dream Girl.
Oh, yeah. And how Ramona isn't even a Manic Pixie Dream Girl, but she's become the staple of.
That was so interesting to me.
Yeah, well, because the definition, and I guess I get to rehash this now, but the definition of a Manic Pixie Dream Girl is, like, it's a term that was coined by a man. So that's already right off the bat. Whoa. And also he regrets it. Like he wishes he could take it back and have never coined the term at all.
Right.
So that's also interesting to begin with. But he defined the Manic Pixie Dream Girl as like a female character who comes into the story and emasculates, or what is the fucking word?
Emasculates?
No, but that's like the opposite. Masculinizes the male characters. And like essentially forces him to a sort of like more masculine and post-pubertal state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Makes him more of a man, whereas before he met her, he was kind of a boy.
Okay.
And then after doing that and making him more of a man and presenting herself so that he can develop more, she leaves. And he's left being a man for the rest of his life thanks to her impact. And that was what the Manic Pixie Dream Girl originally was. And that's how the term was coined. And like really good examples of this are like the girl from Bridge to Terabithia. Mm-hmm. Or, I don't know, I actually can't think of any others. I don't watch a lot of Manic Pixie Dream Girl movies personally. But like how they come in and then they make the man kind of like grow up and become more masculine and then they leave. But Ramona Flowers doesn't do this. Ramona Flowers comes in and she's just like kind of weird.
I mean, you said last time that she kind of does the opposite?
She does kind of do the opposite. She comes in and like, not that Scott was ever like a man before, but like she comes in and she sort of is like, okay, now you're going to listen to me, and he does. And then it's like she's taking the quote-unquote masculine position in that relationship because she's taking charge and like becoming the like lead of the relationship, whereas he's falling into more of like a housewife sort of stance. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
And then they leave together. So then it's like, okay, so that's not a Manic Pixie Dream Girl.
So that's not
what that is.
She is.
But because people heard the phrase and I think associated those words mostly with like manic pixie dream girl, because she like is the girl of his dreams, and it's like sort of like a dream-like movie, and she has such bright colored hair.
It's got the vibe.
It has the vibe of the manic pixie dream girl phrase, despite not technically textually being a manic pixie dream girl. So that's why she has become such a staple of the genre. Not that I think that she's entirely not. Like I think that I don't think Ramona's presence has altered people's perceptions of a manic pixie dream girl, because they still do only refer to manic pixie dream girls as like, and like a manic pixie dream girl has always been like a quirky girl who like comes in and like is different from everyone else, and like that remains true. But it's just like an important part about the manic pixie dream girls that she leaves at the end.
Yeah, and ultimately, despite the fact that Ramona is a character that leaves a lot, they do stay together.
She takes Scott with her.
They
go through that weird door.
That's what they do. So it's like, it's crazy how she's like almost, yeah, like what you said, the opposite. But people have put that label on her just because she matches that vibe.
And it's also interesting to like people's perception of Ramona and like how she is as a character, because when you say that she's a manic pixie dream girl, like that does have implications of like almost bettering the character still, and she definitely does not better Scott in any way. She does not
better Scott. The two kind of like, they make each other worse, but it's like, they're like contained. You know, they're not really good for anybody else, so they might as well just be with each other.
Yeah, and that's kind of the gist of that with like Ramona. Like, she is a bad person, but that's kind of like okay within the context of the film, which is interesting in terms of like the film's perception of female characters and of femininity. Like, they have this girl, this woman who like is like objectively a bad person and is like cruel to all of her exes, but she's still presented as kind of, I mean, she's not really presented as in the right, but she's not presented as in the wrong. You know what I mean?
It doesn't really fully address the problems that she caused. It's just like, that's just how she is.
And that's like fine. And she's allowed to exist within that context of herself.
Which is very interesting, because I think most other films would not do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies that don't do that. Like, if I talked about this in that episode that I recorded with Emma the other day, but like if you look at like the Haynes Code historically and like those other kind of classic film rules, and how they were saying like if you have a female character that has like engages with bad actions on stage, like immoral actions on stage, she needs to be punished by the end of the film.
Oh, I
remember that?
I heard about that, yeah.
I don't know if you took that class with me. I actually don't remember.
I definitely heard about the Hays Code. I took a media code.
I don't know if that's actually in the Hays Code or if that's a different one of those film rules. I went in my MPAA ratings class.
Oh, I took a media criticisms class that vaguely talked about the Hays Code.
Well, the Hays Code is kind of something else, because that's the one where I was like, gay people are evil. It's like,
oh, okay. I thought that was like an umbrella for gay people.
I mean, like kind of, but like it's more complicated than that.
Yeah.
But they like used to have to, like, if a woman was evil on screen, then she had to be punished in some way, usually by death.
Wow.
So it's really interesting how now we can have these movies where like women are engaging in poor actions on screen and they're not even presented as necessarily bad.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, the historical context of this film. I mean, I'm trying to think of other 2000s film that portrays women in like any similar light whatsoever, and I can't really.
Well, this movie's from 2010, right?
I think it was 2010. Yeah, so like mid 2010s.
Okay, I'm thinking.
I got nothing.
Yeah,
it really was kind of like its own thing.
I don't know if I can even think of any movies from 2010.
I know I'm not really good at dates, so I don't really know why I tried this, but
yeah, I don't know. Especially because this was kind of like, I mean, Scott Pilgrim kind of had its own era of film that came after it, but like if you look at before this, like what was really popular, and it's kind of like there was so many like early 2000s and 90s like chick flicks that were like about girls and like what it's like, and all of those girls were like good people generally, or at least good by the end of the film. You didn't really see this sort of like bad girl. I mean, and Ramona's not even necessarily bad, though. I think is something to say. Like, she's not a good person for sure, but I don't know if I'd even say that she's necessarily a bad person.
She's just a person.
At least
that's
she's
flawed.
Not presented as a bad person in the film.
No,
you know what I mean?
She's not. No.
So I think that also has something to do with it. Where like she's presented as like a complete person rather than like a good or a bad person.
That's a good way to put it. She's just like, I feel like the movie does a really good job of showing the full scope of who Ramona is. And I would argue...
Which is also crazy because I also feel like it doesn't at all. Like, it shows, like, who she is and, like, what her values are, but you really don't learn that much about her.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Because, like, we never really... I mean, aside from, like, her evil exes, we don't really know, like,
exactly, like,
who
we don't know anything
was.
about, like, who she is. We know about all of these people who knew her and their perception of her, but we don't know anything about her.
Which is crazy because she is the character that drives the plot forward.
Mm-hmm.
She is, like... Despite the fact that Scott Pilgrim is the titular character, I would say that Ramona Flowers is the main central character of the film.
Yeah. I guess. In the sense that Scott is like an everyman, so he's like very much an audience stand-in, and you're supposed to like watch the movie and go like, oh my god, he's so me. And Ramona is like this girl that you're supposed to be able to picture yourself with when you watch Scott Pilgrim and you look at him and go, oh my gosh, he's so me. So I think they're kind of, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I would say that Ramona, like, is the main character. I mean, she does move the plot forward, but I don't think moving the plot forward is what makes someone the main character.
No, I don't think so either. But I don't know. I just find her more memorable than Scott, to be honest, which is probably due to the fact that he's kind of an everyman.
And she has blue hair.
And she has blue hair.
She stands out.
She does stand out. She does stand out. But yeah.
And also her name is Ramona Flowers.
True.
Whose last name is Flowers?
Imagine like hitting the jackpot, your last name's Flowers. That's actually beautiful.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I wish my last name could be Flowers.
My last name isn't Flowers.
Mine isn't either.
That's sad.
I'm kind of bummed out about it. I didn't realize I was upset about it till now. But yeah. We could move on from Ramona. We could talk about...
I like Kim.
Ooh, we could talk about Kim. Kim's a good one to talk about. Because she's this character that has this entire history with Scott that we don't really see a lot.
You don't see at all in the film, really.
No.
You just see, like, her brief... Like, sometimes when he says something, it'll, like, pan the camera back to Kim, and she's doing that face that she does all the time. And it's like, wow.
It's like, oh, Kim does not like this.
Okay, Kim doesn't like that. Not for Kim. Got it.
Got it. Thank you,
And
Kim.
they never really explain, like, why she feels that way. It's just like, oh, okay, and here's Kim. And she's
Kim.
angry again.
One thing about Kim, she is not happy.
And it's, like, implied that she, like, had feelings for Scott and, like, wanted to be with him in some capacity or, like, was with him in some capacity. And then he betrayed her in some way. And that's, like, what's implied in the movie, but it's never outright said. And I think that's really interesting to have this character who, like, you can so clearly see, like, past relationships affecting her on screen despite never having seen the past relationships happen.
Yeah.
I think it really fleshes out the world that the film resides in and like gives us a lot more context about like what is happening in the film and like how these characters know each other and how they interact. And it's interesting how they chose to do this sort of like background storytelling about like Kim and Scott's relationship like with this female character, because most of the male characters, like, you don't really get that kind of background storytelling with it. Like, you have like Wallace, who's his roommate, who's like gay, and then like
that's
Steven,
kind of
who
it.
like owns the house, but you don't see any sort of history between like Scott and them.
Yeah, I think Kim is the only character that Scott, I mean, aside from obviously like Envy, but like like the established characters in the beginning of the film that like Scott has a history with.
Yeah, and I think his history with Kim is a lot different than his history with Envy, because his history with Envy is also like outright said and explained as a plot point.
Yeah.
Whereas his history with Kim is not a plot point in the film. It's just something that exists within the context of the film and the background to make it feel more complete and full.
It makes the world feel lived in.
Exactly. It makes the world feel more developed and more real. And I think that is really interesting how they gave that position to a female character and let her be the one who is more developed than a lot of the male characters on screen.
Yeah, I think that is a really good point to make, because you really do just kind of get to see like, and it's crazy because Kim doesn't have that many lines.
No,
but she says
she's like
so
kind of a
much.
crazy background character, but like she does so much with her facial expressions and like her acting choices throughout the film that like makes it so clear that she like is a full person, and they did all of the work to make her like a complete character.
Who plays Kim in the movie?
I forget her name.
I'm gonna Google it.
Okay.
Because props to her. Who plays Kim? God.
And it's like props to her and props to the writers and the directors, because they obviously like you can come up with those context clues like on your own, and like she totally developed that character entirely on her own, but also like they wrote that in, like they wrote that history into the film.
Alison Pill.
Yeah, I knew that. I should.
Let's go Alison Pill. But yeah, it's like, it's definitely very intentional. It's definitely not just like, oh, the actor is just doing this
because
thing.
the camera like pans to her when she's doing these reaction shots.
So it's definitely there's like a cohesion there. But yeah, I think Kim is a great character of just like the subtle like world building and like the dynamics that exist. It tells a lot about Scott as a person. I mean, as if he wasn't dating
and about Kim.
And about Kim, yeah.
And
like,
also,
it does a lot for both of
like,
their
really,
characters.
it is just so good that they gave this position of, like, making the world fall to a girl. Compared to, like, they could have given it to any guy and have him been, like, I don't know, evil in the background. But they let this girl have the moment with it. And it is a little bit...
It does kind of suck that she's kind of just Scott's ex.
Yeah, and she's kind of just, like, in love with Scott. And, like, that's a little, like, okay. And we couldn't have given her, like...
A little bit more.
Anything else to work with. But still, whatever.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's better than like what the male characters got, which was
which was pretty much nothing.
So that's like something. I mean, considering she's a side character, I think that's fine.
I think so too.
But yeah.
In terms of other female characters, I guess we can talk about Envy next, and save Knives for last.
And Roxy. Do we want to talk about Roxy?
Talk about Roxy.
I want to talk about Roxy. I like Roxy.
I know you like Roxy.
I like Roxy.
I like Envy.
I know you like Envy. We can talk about Envy now.
I mean, we can talk about Roxy now if you want, and then Envy after.
Sure. We can talk about Roxy
go
now.
on. Speak your truth.
I really, really like Roxy.
It.
I think she is... I mean, I think a lot of the 7 evil exes are kind of justified in their anger to an extent. But to me personally, I don't know if it's just like my attachment to the character, but I've always found Roxy to be the most compelling of the 7 evil exes. I just think what she had going with Ramona was like, you know, she's just like, it's obviously there's a whole like, there's the subversion of like, oh, the 7 evil ex-girlfriends. No, my 7 evil exes. So like, obviously, it's the movie constantly alludes to like, oh, no, all of them are guys. One of them's a girl. And then we finally find out it's a girl, and she has her like moment where she's like, oh, Ramona there's more to Ramona than Scott had initially assumed. And that's kind of like one of the big moments we see that in the film. And also I just think Roxy is just like, I don't know, man, just like the gay characters always get me. I know that's like, it's like not, I don't know. I just really like Roxy.
I like Roxy. Yeah. There's something to be said about lesbian sensationalism and like presenting lesbians as a plot twist.
Definitely.
And this thing is so close to my mouth right now.
Back up.
And like I like, it's not really fetishization of lesbians, but it is like, oh my god, and she liked a girl once. Isn't that so weird? Like, she's so quirky. Like, oh my god, I can't believe she dated a girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the datedness of it does show.
And I think that's subpar. That impact of fucking whatever. But I think as a character, Roxy is very interesting. I think she's better in the show than she is in the movie.
Oh, I hard agree.
I think in the movie it's a little bit like, okay, and some of these jokes are definitely homophobic.
Yeah.
And also it's like you are just using her for a sensational thrill.
The movie does not do a very good job at representing queer people at all.
No, it really doesn't. And I think that's bad.
I think that's bad.
I actually think that you should represent queer people well. But also, in terms of Roxy, like, she is still like an interesting character enough. She's like this cool ninja.
I know,
and like that's awesome. I like that she's a ninja. She's never presented as like evil for being gay. You know what I mean? Like, they never present her gayness as something that is bad. They just present it as something that is shocking and crazy, which is still bad to do.
Yeah,
but it's better than presenting her as like some sort of villain for being gay.
True. I mean, yeah, it is a step in the right direction.
And I think it is evil and cruel what Ramona did to her.
It
hurts me bad. like in my soul.
Oh my god, poor Roxy.
Don't ever be gay.
Guys, don't be gay. That's the lesson of Scott Pilgrim. Don't be gay.
And that is the message of Scott Pilgrim.
But yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I think the show version of Roxy definitely influences my perspective of her. But I do think, I don't know, I just really like the line where it's like, bi-curious, I'm a little bi-furious. I don't know, I really like that line. I think it's really funny.
I'm glad you feel that way. That is a lovely line for you to like.
I just think it's a good pun. I don't know.
I mean, it's fine. Yeah, Roxy is like, I don't know. And guys, I don't know if you know this, I'm gay. And this like sensationalism of lesbianism is like such a thing that was like prevalent in this time period, because you also had like blue is the warmest color coming out around now, and it's like, okay, and we've got like so much evil lesbian media out there in the world that is just like bad representations of like being gay. Mm-hmm. So I don't really care for that. I think that is a point down in regards to the movie and like its handling of that. I think it is interesting how they let Ramona have a gay lover and just let that be a thing that existed in the movie. And it's not like Scott was exactly homophobic about it.
No, he was like, okay, really dense. He was just like, doesn't get it. And
that was nice. None of the characters within the film like were homophobic. It was just some of the jokes that like the writers had for Roxy.
Yeah.
That were bad.
Little
I can't think of any examples right now. I think I like blocked them out, but I distinctly remember watching it and being like, oh, that's making me uncomfortable.
Like what the jokes were with her. I don't remember much of them. I'll have to rewatch and be like, okay, this was bad. This was bad. This was bad.
Yeah. Yeah, Roxy. Anyway, let's talk about Envy. I love Envy.
Envy time. I really like Envy too. I think she's such a fun character.
There's really not that much to talk about with her though, because she's just like this girl.
She's just like this girl. She's like the Scott's version of like the, and I'm using heavy quotations when I say this, evil ex, because I don't think she's evil.
Not evil like that, although. And then I like how the movie doesn't ever represent her as evil. No. Like they're never like, oh, and Envy sucks. They're just like, oh, and Scott, you're really weird about Envy. Like she's just a girl.
like this is just a girl living her best life. She's got a new boyfriend. She's like famous. She's a famous singer. She's moved on past you.
Yeah, and you're like, she's just like normal. And it's like, wow, that's awesome. Hi, Envy. And she really is just normal. Like she's just this normal girl.
Yeah, and it really like the film kind of sets you up to think like, okay, she might be evil because she's like an antagonist.
Yeah, they try to present her as an antagonist in the beginning. They try to like set her up that way because they're like, oh my god, and she's the lead singer of this rock band and she's super famous and she left Scott behind and he's like all alone now. And then you meet her and she's like, hi Scott.
Oh, hi Scott, how you doing?
And I'm it's doing like, great. Okay, so that's normal. So that's literally just a girl.
This is just a normal person.
And then she's got that boyfriend, but it's like that's normal. Like that's normal too. Like
the guy who has superpowers when he is vegan.
It's so funny.
I love that.
And it's just
bit.
like she's just like a to be expected girl. She's just like this girl who
is a girl.
Like there's really not much more to say about her. Like I mean, is she well developed? I don't know. Developed enough. Definitely developed than some of the male characters in the film, especially considering how little screen time she has.
I think it's not. I think the fact that she's not really developed isn't really like because she's a girl. It's just because a lot of the characters in this film
there's just so many.
There's just so many characters in this film. This film has like a million.
And
characters.
I do think that she is better developed than some characters, like
absolutely
young Neil of sorts.
Young Neil, who's literally just young Neil,
and he's in the whole movie and still doesn't get developed in any way.
He's just there. He's literally just there.
It's so funny. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say about Envy. Like, she's literally just a girl. And it's like, well, that's awesome. Dopeness. It's like, wow. Shout out girls. Shout out.
We love girls.
Rock stars. Shout out, what's that girl? Who plays her? What's that girl's name? Why am I blanking?
Brie Larson.
Shout out Brie Larson.
It's funny because she's like a foil of the evil exes almost, because all the evil exes are hung over Ramona and Envy is just completely over Scott.
She's so over Scott.
She's so like over Scott. She's done with him. That's like my thing to say about Envy, which is funny because her name's Envy, and she's like not really that envious. I wonder if that's like her real name. I don't think it is. I don't think it is her real name. I think it's a stage name. I don't know though. I imagine Envy it's a
Adams, so she's so
imagine
awesome.
You name your kid Envy.
That's kind of dope.
That's actually kind of awesome.
I'd name my kid Envy. I'd feel kind of bad about it because it's like, oh, and now you're named after a 7 deadly sin.
Yeah, I know. That's like, imagine naming your kid like Sloth.
Okay, that's kind of funny. Your kid Gluttony.
Wrath, it's time for dinner.
That's so funny.
That's good, actually.
Maybe we should get on this.
We should get on that. Adopt 7 kids.
Let's do it.
All right, let's lock that
in. So there's this other girl in the movie.
Oh, which one are we talking about?
We talked about Knives already briefly, but not in the sense where, like, her actual arc. We talked about how she's racist and not...
Yeah, okay, we can talk about her as a character.
So I feel like we should talk about her actual, like, character arc.
Okay. Knives, aw. I love her.
We only have, like, 5 more minutes, so we can make it brief.
We can make this quick.
But I feel like there's more to say about her character, because we did talk about, like, how her existence is such a racist stand-in for, like, that incel type. But if you actually talk about her as a character, we briefly mentioned that she has an arc and then didn't get into it at all, so...
Right, yeah, I'm remembering it now. Let's talk about that arc.
Yeah, because I really like Knives. I think she's cute and lovely, and I think she's, like... Hello, these headphones are falling off of me.
Ooh.
I think she's, like, pretty well developed given everything that happens. I think she's arguably as important to the plot as, like, Scott and Ramona are. I think she's on the same level as them in terms of development and plot relevance and, like, just, like, context within the film. Like, she just, like, is that important. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, because she is kind of like this third
She's, like, the third main character.
Yeah. She's like this person that's, like, making Scott and Ramona's relationship very dubious.
And I think the most interesting thing about Knives is that you wouldn't necessarily expect that from the beginning, because at the beginning they're just like, and here's the 17-year-old that Scott's dating. Here she is. And then she's like, hi, Scott. Is Scott home? Can I play with Scott? And then she, like, you think that by the end when he meets Ramona, like, she's kind of just going to disappear into obscurity and be, like, this 17-year-old that he, like, broke the heart of. But then she, like, comes back.
And she's, like, awesome.
And she's, like, hardcore. And it's like, wow, that's awesome.
And she's like, I don't need you, Scott. And it's like, good for you. Good for
Seriously,
you,
good for you. But, like, the way that they set it up really does make it feel like she's going to fade into irrelevancy as the movie goes on and he falls more in love with Ramona, but then she just refuses to do that.
It does feel like the character herself is actively making herself more important to the plot.
Which is awesome.
Which is really cool.
It gives her such a good sense of agency and, like, empowers, like, young girls who would be in these situations and, like, are stuck with these, like, 23-year-old men.
Grown men.
And is like, look, and you do have the power to, like, get back and, like, stand up against these people who are, like, are definitely abusing you.
Yeah. It's like, and it's crazy how she didn't, so many adults in the show, not a single one went to Knives and was like, hey, you know, you need to, you know, I can help if you need me. Like, she had to do that herself.
Yeah, she did. I also think that Knives is the most developed character in the whole film. When you consider, like, from where she starts and where she ends the film, like, she changes the most throughout the film. So I think her development is the most, 1, clear, and 2, like, well thought out. Because, like, Scott starts the movie as a loser dating a 17-year-old, and he ends the movie as a loser dating a 23-year-old. And it's like, that's not really much change there.
And then Ramona's just like...
Ramona doesn't change at all. Ramona stays constant the entire way through. And it's kind of implied that she stays constant for her entire life and never sees the fault in her ways. And never changes. So there's kind of no development happening there.
Yeah. I think I agree. I think Knives is the most developed character in the film.
Which is why it's almost, like, it almost feels like she's the main character.
She is definitely, like, the hero, I think, of the story. I think so, too. Obviously, she's, like, not the protagonist, but, like, she is, like, ultimately the character to root for if you're going to root for a character in Scott Pilgrim. Which I think is very interesting because you don't get that vibe from her when you first start the film.
Which is what, like, you don't expect that until you're about halfway through, and then you're like, wait, and what's happening with Knives?
And wait, we keep checking back in on Knives. She's still relevant. She still wants to see Scott, and she's still trying to get over him.
Yeah.
And then she just becomes her own person and doesn't need him.
I love her. I think she's so awesome.
I agree. I love her, too. I think she's awesome.
Okay, we're coming up on the end here. Michael, I'm going to ask you the final questions. Do you think that this movie is a good representation of girlhood? Kind of said that like a robot.
That was kind of cool. I'm going to say this as a man.
Our token man.
Our token man.
We didn't even mention that at the beginning. Michael, our token man.
I am the token boy. I am a man.
I am a man.
I am a man, so I don't really know if I have the best say in this.
Well, that's why you're here, dude. We need your perspective.
I would say that it has its merits, and I think it does do a good job at showing women as people.
Yeah.
And that's my take. So I would say soft yes.
I think that it does a good job with its female characters, and they're like well developed and they're interesting. I don't think it's a good representation of girlhood and like being a girl, because I don't think they really get into that at all, but that's kind of fine. I mean, I wish that they did a little bit. I think that Knives' arc is kind of a good representation of girlhood, but even that is like
it's like this
kind of in the background.
Yeah. It's like not
regardless,
the focus of the film.
I think that the female characters in this film are very well developed and interesting, despite the popular opinion of the movie and how it is being sort of commandeered as like an incel film for people who hate women. But the female characters are still kind of the most important ones in the entire film.
Retweet. Hard agree.
So, overall, good movie.
Fun movie. Recommend it.
How many stars would you give it out of 5? What's
I
it
give
rated
it
on your Letterboxd?
I did rate it on my Letterboxd. I'm trying to remember what I gave it. I think I gave it like a 4 stars.
I think I gave it 4.5 or 5. I really like this movie. I like the editing. It's really what gets it for me. I like the editing.
I like the video game aspects of it. I think it's really fun. But yeah.
I strongly agree. Okay, that's all. Bye, podcast.
Bye, podcast. Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening.